Hey everybody, what's up? This is Al Mega, and very happy here to have a wonderful guest that has a dope new movie that's dropping September 23rd with an amazing cast. All right, I mean we're talking some dope actors here. We have a legend like Thomas Jane, for example. Let me bring this very talented man that is a writer, he's a producer, and of course a director, Mr. Asher. Levin, how you doing, kiddo?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited to be on here. You gonna
Thank
talk about some comic book shit too?
Yeah, yeah. If you love comics, I definitely want to know your early inspiration because this is Comic Crusaders podcast, and I know this is a short one, but I definitely want to know a bit about the origins of the
No. By
fandom.
by the way, we could take our time. This is the last one for a little bit. If you want to roll, I'm good until 12:30. So you take your time, man.
All right, let's rock and roll then. So
Yeah.
give me some early origins of your fandom.
Whew. Well, as far as comic book stuff, I'm actually gonna reserve that for my son because my son's 6.5 and he's a bigger comic book fan than me. I mean, my comic book stuff I was actually more of a action and gangster guy myself personally. My comic book stuff started really with watching Tim Burton's Batman for the first time. I'm 42, so from that point on, anything that came out, anything that was around. But I love seeing the world a second time through with my son because he has all the books. I got the Marvel encyclopedia, the DC encyclopedia. He likes to invent stuff. He makes his own comic books. He knows all about all the different fringe characters and everything. It's a blast. And obviously Thomas is like not only a comic book legend as far as an actor, but also just as far as even in the comic book world, which is
absolutely,
awesome. So,
absolutely. I mean, he's the Punisher, one of my favorite Punishers
ever.
ever.
Yeah. He's made some of his own comic books too.
Yes, he has.
By the way, no disrespect to John Bernthal, he is the Punisher. There's only one Punisher. All right,
that's our Punisher, right?
That's our Punisher. That's right.
Yeah, I 100 virtual high five on that one. So, all right. So then, talk about then your early steps into creating. Like,
sure.
When was that?
Man, I grew up in Los Angeles. I have family was in different types of the movie business. My mom's dad was in the adult entertainment business in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, what? Yeah.
Yep. And my dad's dad was he worked with Steve McQueen and made some cool movies.
Wow.
And so I was sort of always around on the producing side of stuff. And then my dad worked as an advertising and entertainment world, and my mom went to school for screenwriting and runs a big entertainment environmental organization. So I always had it sort of in my surface, but I just always loved watching movies, honestly, from the time I was 1 year old. And to my grandfather, my mom's dad got me into watching old gangster movies, old the Howard Hawks movies and all the Warner Brothers gangster movies to start out with, and then I slowly worked my way to Hitchcock, and then after that Scorsese, Kubrick, and then really start learning about the Walter Hills and the William Friedkins and Clint Eastwoods and stuff, sort of Sergio Leone and all that other good stuff. So I think I've seen one thing kinship I'm sure with you is and with Thomas is I have a affinity for both high and low cinema.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's my sort of and I embrace. I'm not an official fanboy, but I probably am. That word wasn't around. I'm 42, so that started later for us, you and I.
We were getting beat up for being a geek.
Right. But I lived and breathed it. I mean, I loved all the Tim Burton movies. I loved the Sam Raimi movies when I was a kid. Actually, A Simple Plan was and I didn't say this on any other interview, so I'll give it to you. A Simple Plan was one of the main influences for Dick for me. Cinematography. And film and the performance and everything. And Raimi in general is one of these guys that I think I like. De Palma, Raimi, Friedkin. These are some filmmakers that I think deserve more shout out than they get.
Yeah,
it's easy to get on and talk about the influences of Scorsese or Soderbergh, Tarantino. Yeah. It's sort of like they're the best of top 40. But I think that and I know people are rediscovering Raimi now a little bit.
Yes.
But and which is cool. But my first favorite comic book movie was Darkman.
Oh yeah,
And
wasn't that amazing when it came
right.
out?
And my dad showed me Army of Darkness when I was like 8 years old.
I saw it in the
That movie
theaters.
fucking blew my mind. I saw it in theaters. I mean, when he gets tied up, Sullivan's Travel style, you know,
Yeah, right.
and they're all trying to chop him. And
And
I
on
mean,
the big screen, didn't it look amazing?
oh man, those movies are so great. And then and then I was into, along with that, also really into the action movies because I was, I'm 42, so I was 7, 8 years old and watching Die Hard's one of my favorite movies. All the Shane Black movies that came out. Dick Donner films, and then the Schwarzenegger stuff.
Yes,
And
Schwarzenegger,
everything in
Stallone,
between.
Van Damme, name
Yeah,
them, brother. You know what
all of
I mean?
them. Early
Legend.
Seagal before it got
Right?
weird.
Yeah, right. Skinny
Uh,
Seagal.
Skinny Seagal. That's right. So I mean, I think those are informative. And then on the other side, actually, and I think some of it comes through with my dialogue. I've always been such a huge fan of Saturday Night Live and all the sort of, world from it, and specifically the Reitman Ramis stuff. Vacation is one of my top 5.
Yes, absolutely.
Stripes is a top 10. And that irreverent tone, I think carries over even in some of Emile's dialogue in this film. And definitely in Slayers, there's a sort of anarchistic element in dialogue with those early Reitman Ramis films, the Bill Murray movies, where and a Gen X aesthetic. I am the very cutoff of December 27th, 1979, and I say I'm Gen X. I'm not millennial, and nowhere near that.
I'm Gen X certified. I'm 75.
Yeah,
2 words.
yeah, and I think that we see the world a little bit differently, to be honest.
Yes, we do.
I think we have a lot of apprehension, and I think we turn that apprehension into irreverence and cynicism in the best kind of way.
But I think that's also because how we were born into it. Again, we were young enough to get into the tech as it was being birthed, if you will. So we took the ride with technology. Well, these kids,
100%,
they're being born with it.
Right.
We took the ride with it, but we also lived outside because it was unaffordable
100%.
at that time.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, most of my early years, and specifically my junior high years, I was out, skating around, getting fucked up, and being like
Living.
a few blocks away from my house, and not
Living
having
life.
a phone. There was no phones yet,
I
was very responsible. I'd go out and I would call my mom. This is my deal. I would call her every hour or two on a payphone. Say I'm alive, and then that was pretty much that,
Yeah, of course. We picked up payphones that everybody else was touching without using sanitizer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we did things differently back then. We'd find out about parties at a gas station,
but talking about a party, this movie is a party. This is fire because you got a fire cast, and you were mentioning the cinematography. Let me tell you, I wanted to compliment you on that. There was this particular scene when what's her name, Liana was talking. To
Harlow.
Right, and in the bathroom, and the way you captured her face, like even I know she was talking a little nuts, but it's the way you captured her, like it really pulled through the screen. Like this lady is insane. What this couple reminded me was Mickey and Mallory, not to kill the type.
People have said that quite a few times. That scene was something that I had put in. The writers wrote a really fantastic screenplay, but the characters were not those characters. It was a couple dirty cops.
Oh really?
And a
typical movie.
the core of the film was really the father and the daughter, which was beautiful. And Thomas and Harlow. I was talking about this on another interview. I didn't direct that. Their father and daughter, and some of the scenes in the movie that really are true drama are so real. And also credit to Harlow. She's fucking amazing and was able to be there. She was able to be present, as an actor. But that even goes into that scene. She's not saying a word, but we know everything she's saying, right? And Liana is a powder keg. I spotted her early in my career. I did a lot of digital stuff for a long time, and I knew her through a Hulu series she did with a digital company called Awesomeness. And then I saw her through friends of mine's movie Banana Split, and I knew that there was more than just sort of girl next door vibes with her.
Yes.
And then I had a read with a bunch of other girls, but I kind of always had my eye on her mostly. And one thing she does really great and kind of terrifying is she could go from being really small to really big and not telegraph it. So what you're talking about in that scene is very much that. And the seduction of it. I think there's two companion scenes. There's that scene and then an earlier scene with a gun that are seduction scenes, really, with the two of them. And the mind games that she plays, clearly she has a lot of agency in this film as a female villain, and she uses it in a lot of different ways, and the scene is a really good example of it. You don't really know who she is. She's a cipher, and I think that what's fun is that Emile's character is kind of he's a little bit of a cuck to a certain degree,
Oh, yes, he is. Oh my God. There's a scene, folks. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it wouldn't have worked if she didn't really understand how to do it. Yeah. Emile obviously can do anything, but without the right scene partner, forget about it. Yeah. And I think that scene in the bathroom is a really good, distillation of the fact that she is the chief villain in the film. She's the driver, and not in a sort of negative way, in a sort of I would say an entrepreneuristic way. Yeah. And I love, but visually, a lot of that stuff was drawn out. My cinematographer, Steven, I've worked with a few times, did such a nice job in the movie. And I talked about it in a previous interview, but one of the things I wanted that we talked about a lot was to make the middle of the movie feel like there's no time of day. So we did a lot of stuff where we would shoot ends of days and beginnings of days to give it a magic hour look. For scenes, we would shoot one half and then we would shoot another half later. The other proxy of that is that the wind was really terrible.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. That must have been insane. When were you filming?
It was in the spring of 2021. So the wind was really tough. And so once I realized that we weren't able to shoot all scenes all the time and we would have to do coverage and come back, then immediately, I think it was the scene where they come into the RV and then he fires the stray bullet. We shot that over 3 days because I had a lot of shots. And then after the first day, I said, my line producer, my AD actually was like, hey, should we push something else so we could finish the scene? I said, no. Actually, what I want to do is I want to split this up, the rest of it, into a few days so that we can have it look like it's magic hour the whole time. So, I think this movie is mostly night and magic hour. Most of it, we shot this movie mostly from about 2:30 to 2:30, and sometimes 3 to 3, and sometimes 4 to 4, and sometimes 6 to 6, and then it got to 8 to 8. It was a late night shoot.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
So yeah.
Fun at the time.
It was. Hey, listen. It was great for not everyone getting COVID because nobody was going out, and nobody was seeing anyone. And it was like a little trick I did to make sure that we didn't get any COVID positives, is that everyone was just sort of stuck on this man's shoot.
Yeah, you have no choice now but to finish the film, folks. Make it happen. Excellent.
That's right.
What would you tell people why they got to watch this film when it drops on September 23rd?
It's a great movie. The performances are amazing. I'm going to start there. The movie is, it's very hard to pull off a film like this when there's only 4 actors for most of the movie. And so all the actors are amazing. I don't think people have seen a movie quite like this in a long time. There's elements of Funny Games and elements of Desperate Hours. It's a very different kind of home assault movie, but it's also has a really strong heart. There's trauma. There's a really strong father-daughter relationship that is we've all gone through the pandemic. We've all had health issues. We know how it affects families. We know how tragedy affects families. There's been so many shootings. And so I think that this movie has a really nice way of creating a very tight Hitchcock thriller but also addressing those themes about how do we come back together after our family is ripped apart. And Emile and Liana's characters are agents of chaos. They really are in this film, and they are trying to the fabric of this very American family, father and daughter who have been displaced, who are struggling, who there's no mother, and tragedy has destroyed their relationship.
Very tragic indeed. So
very tragic. And so I think that, for people who want to be thrilled, but also sort of look inward and have a cathartic experience where they might relate to a lot of the stuff happening to our leads, I think it's a really great movie for that. And it's fucking fun as shit. I mean, the set pieces are really fun, and, come for the performances. I mean, honestly, they're all amazing. Thomas has never been better. Harlow is a revelation. Liana is fucking insane, and Emile is Emile. Yes. I mean, Emile is this is top tier AAA plus Emile Hirsch. If you guys want to see a mammoth of an actor in process, he's this should be a very nice coming out party for him, to remind people that he is in the upper echelon of working performers. And with Thomas, this is just a great leading man role for him. I think that sometimes he likes to do character stuff. He's done it with me before, but this is a true blue Clint Eastwood, Robert Mitchum, Kevin Costner, performance. It reminded me a lot of all those guys, and just the essence, little Harrison Ford, in terms of being that old dog and being protective of your cubs, and then fucking awakening and showing your strength. And I think that you see that with movies like Taken and stuff. But it's seeing Thomas do it. It's so cool. He's such a hero, man. He's been a hero forever, but I think this is an internal hero, and it's something really relatable.
It's more of him being an everyman type of hero. You see all these other films, all these guys are super spies. He's not that. He's just a regular Joe that unfortunately is in some bad circumstances.
100%. So, if you like a little family drama with your blood and your gore and a little bit of kinky sex, enjoy the film.
Dig into Dig, baby.
Dig into Dig. It's a lot of fun. It's what genre film should be. They haven't made them like this in a long time. I like movies from the 70s and 80s. They're like this.
It shows so much. It does, my brother, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And you're right, that hits it on the head. It's very the 70s, 80s style, but good way, folks, Oh,
yeah, definitely. In a way that you guys should be watching more of these movies, because there's a lot to learn. I mean, obviously, I'm sure, all these huge filmmakers like Tarantino always talk about, they even have a podcast now, about sort of elevated exploitation films and stuff like that. But the genre films of the 1970s specifically are really what our movies today are defined on. Yeah. I mean, the biggest director in the world was a genre filmmaker in the 70s. And, and hopefully one day I could, make bigger and bigger projects, but still embrace the way that, guys like Spielberg and Scorsese do, the roots of sort of shoveling shit and making small movies and making sure that there's good performances and cool camera work,
Yeah, but that manure brings up good soil, good roots, solid foundations. It's all right, bro. One step at a time, you got it. It's all right. I see you as a superstar because I know you teased it just a tad, but before we go, you also have another little project with Tom. Once again, dropping soon.
I do.
Called Slayers. So can you tell us a little about that before we go?
Sure, absolutely. And we can get on again if you want to talk about that too. But Slayers is very different. It is
a 360 on this.
It's a full 360 on this. It is it's more in the vein of it's true fanboy shit. It's like someone compared it to Repo Man by way of Near Dark.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
It's wild. It's a little bit Looney Tunes. It's a little bit John Carpenter. I mean, it's a little Mel Brooks. It's fucking nuts. I mean, so I'll say that for anybody who's a real fanboy, October first. Your minds are going to be fucking blown. And that'll be a to be continued for our next one.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the
Let's leave it a
meantime, go
beacon.
see Dig. Dig
Absolutely.
is fun as shit. It will make your blood race, and it'll remind you what it is and what's important to you.
Absolutely. September 23rd. Don't forget, folks.
September
I'm going to drop the
23rd.
trailer and the link so you can get your tickets today. All right? You know what it is. Thank you, my brother. God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing. This is Al Mega
Yes, sir.
and Mr.
Yes,
Master
sir.
Levin. And we
All
out.
right.
Hasta la próxima. ¡Wepa!
Thank you.